بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Yes, I have had more dreams about nuclear war. And I can confirm, yes, nuclear war will take place, not because of my dream, but because of the Quran and because of the Hadith. And I can also confirm, yes, nuclear war will come soon. The Malhama is coming soon. Why? Because Jerusalem is now center stage. And Medina or Yathrib is now in full-on desolation. Yes, it's coming soon. How soon? That's a good question. How soon? Now give me a few minutes. You've got to be able to connect the dots and read history. When the First World War took place, they would not have succeeded in the First World War unless the United States had entered into the war. And in order to get the United States to enter into the war, because the American people were not in favor of war. And Henry Ford did a great work, Henry Ford, to convince the American people not to enter the war. But they had to use great deception to turn their population around. It was a German submarine which sank a ship, and colossal loss, and that was used. But they sent the ship to be a sitting duck. And that's how they got a chance to enter the First World War and be able to succeed. When the Second World War took place, again they would not have succeeded unless the United States entered the war. What did they do? In order to get the United States to enter the war, Roosevelt ordered the American fleet to be assembled at Pearl Harbor, to be parked there. The admirals of the US Navy said to him, "Are you crazy? If we come to Pearl Harbor, we will be sitting ducks for a Japanese attack." But that is what Roosevelt wanted. So he overruled the admirals, sent the US Navy to Pearl Harbor in order that it could be attacked by the Japanese and get the casus bellum, the opportunity to be able to justify entering into the Second World War. Every time they wage war, it has always been by deception. And I can continue to give you more examples. But this one coming is going to be the mother of all deceptions. They could not wage the First and Second World War until they had a man in the White House they could trust. If Hillary Clinton had won the last election, we may have had the Malhama already. It is my opinion, and I believe there are many analysts who will agree with me, that they cannot trust Trump. No. So long as Trump is President of the United States of America, there will be no Malhama. No. They cannot trust him. In order for them to have the Great War, they need someone else in the White House. So don't be surprised if there is an impeachment and Pence replaces Trump. And if Pence were to replace Trump, then the stage will be set. Then you have your man in the White House, then you need some extraordinary act of deception. And I believe I know what it's going to be. but I'm afraid to speak about it. So I'm going to be silent on it. I will speak in private, but not in public. I believe I know what is going to be this extraordinary act of deception. And I hope and pray that Russia is not deceived. Yeah.
Sheikh, we've got quite a few questions on Turkey and President Erdogan. They're about Turkey buying the Russian S-400 anti-aircraft weaponry, and whether or not there's two different types of questions. One is the significance that the current Erdogan government has on the conquest of Constantinople, or whether or not he is the conqueror of Constantinople.
Well, thank Allah for an easy question. The Quran answers. The Quran tells us a command from Allah. بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تتخذوا اليهود والنصارى أولياء بعضهم أولياء بعض ومن يتوله منكم فإنه منهم إن الله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين. I have already explained this ayah 500,000 times already, so you're fed up now. If we use proper methodology, the Quran could not be saying, do not take all Jews and do not take all Christians as your friends and allies. No. Because it will be verses of the Quran in conflict with each other. So therefore, the Quran has to be saying that there are some Jews and some Christians that you're prohibited from maintaining friendship with them and being in alliance with them. And so the question now is, which Jews and which Christians? Which Jews and which Christians are we prohibited from maintaining friendship with them? And the answer is there, بَعَدُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ. بَعَدُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ. Do not take such Jews and do not take such Christians as your friends and allies, who themselves are friends and allies of each other. If I am wrong, tell me what is right. The Quran, therefore, is anticipating a moment in history when a mysterious reconciliation between a part of the Christian world and a part of the Jewish world will take place. And then friendship and alliance, a Judeo-Christian alliance emerging. When that happens, the Quran is saying, don't take them as your friends and allies. And if you do, then you now belong to them. You cannot be the leader of the world of Islam. You belong to them. وَمَن يَتَوَلَّهُم مِّنكُمْ فَإِنَّهُ مِنْهُمْ. Did you hear that? These are the words of the Quran. وَمَن يَتَوَلَّهُم مِّنكُمْ فَإِنَّهُ مِنْهُمْ. Whosoever from amongst you turn to them for friendship and alliance, joining their alliance. You belong to them, you don't belong to us. Inna Allah la yahdi al-qawm al-zalimin. Allah does not provide guidance for a people who are wicked. Has that Judeo-Christian reconciliation and friendship and alliance occurred? Is there a Judeo-Christian alliance in the world today? Unless you are amongst those who bought a one-way ticket to the moon, you would know that the Zionist movement has succeeded. The Zionist movement has succeeded, spectacularly so, in forging a Judeo-Christian alliance. I can say this in a hall. You think I can say this in a masjid anywhere in Britain? No. No. That's That's the reality facing you in your faces. I can speak the truth and I can explain the book of Allah from a hall, but I can't do it from a masjid. That's right. And how many are there who will stand up to the masjid and tell them? Tell the people in the masjid that you are hijacking the house of Allah. The Judeo-Christian alliance has emerged. It is in the West. It's the Judeo-Christian Zionist alliance. Yes. And they have NATO as their military arm. So if you're a member of NATO, you can't be a part of us. No. The Quran is saying you are part of them, not of us. Is that enough for me to answer your question on Turkey? But there's more to Turkey. Turkey is not only a member of NATO, and I hope and I pray that they will have the good sense to come out of NATO. We will be very happy, and all of you will be very happy. The whole world of Islam will be very happy if Turkey were to come out of NATO. Probably you could tell that to him for me, please. But there's something more. We are now witnessing an attack on the Turkish lira. The lira has lost 40% of its value since the attack started. It's in a meltdown now. And the president of Turkey, the present president, is a student and a disciple of perhaps the greatest leader that modern Turkey ever had. Yes, that was his murshid, a man named Najmuddin Erbakan, rahimahullah. Yes, rahimahullah, great man. And it was Najmuddin Erbakan who declared, holding up a dinar publicly, he said, this is the road to salvation for this country. That is your leader. And yet when the Turkish lira is on attack and it is melting, the disciple is yet to say that we must bring dinar and dirham into the market as legal tender to stop the meltdown.